Good afternoon, and welcome to the December 2021 Board of Commissioners meeting. I was alerted by Commissioner Lancaster that he would not be here today. He contacted me and let me know he wouldn't be there. And Commissioner Keith also said he would be a little bit late, so he's at another ceremony, and he'll be here right after that. So that will take us to the invocation. If we could all please stand. You'd bow your heads with me. Thank you. Dear Lord, we come humbly to you tonight. Lord, we just come in first to say thank you. Thank you for a wonderful year that we've had. Thank you for our outgoing chairman and the leadership that he gave this board and this county over the last year. Lord, we'd ask you to touch each one of us that's here as commissioners and the staff and all of those that are under the sound of my voice. Lord, just reach out and touch them in this day as we go forth. We'd ask everything tonight be done decent and in order. And with that, Lord, we ask you in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you. We could do the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very sweater on tonight. I knew that's what I was going to wear.
And that will take us to the public comment period. Madam Clerk, are there anyone signed up for the public comment period?
There are no speakers this evening.
All righty. That will take us to the approval of the agenda. I will call on the county manager. Are there any corrections or changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
So I call for a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. That takes us to the presentations. I guess Ms. Council want to talk there. And if I could call down Commissioner Evans.
This mask.
Good evening, Commissioner Evans.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Mr. Chair, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. And this is just an auspicious occasion, and it does give me great pleasure to be able to present this. Usually we present it in our first meeting in December. You were not here, and so I was not going to let that go with you not being here to be able to present this to you. You know, I tell everybody, we go through cycles in life. So the first cycle for Commissioner Evans was to be a council person for the city of Fayetteville. His next was to be on this board of commissioners and serve well. And then the next cycle was to be chairman of this board of commissioners. And hopefully the next cycle is for him to be the congressman for this particular area as he's seeking that. So Godspeed and good wishes on your journey. And so I would like to present this to you because I tell you, you did an excellent job last year. Made my job easy because I'm just going to continue with those things that you did. That's what I talked about last week when you weren't here. But it's a testament to where you've taken this county for the time that you've been here. Not that he's going anywhere. He's going to be with us for the rest of the year. So I don't want y'all to think he's dying or anything. So he's going to be here with us. So this is presented to Charles E. Evans this 6th day of December 2021 in grateful appreciation of your leadership as the chairman of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, December the 7th, 2020 through December the 6th, 2021, from the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. Oh, stay away from that, yeah. Hold a minute. Hold a minute, come right there right here with these two ladies over here too, so we can do all this at one time.
Tell her to use a little bit of the rights. Wait a minute, babe.
One more. I'm sorry, one more.
You want to say a couple words?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Excuse me? Oh. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's truly an honor. This is bittersweet for me. It's truly an honor to receive this plaque as outgoing chairperson. And the individual that presented it to me, our current chairman, is he likes to tell it, so I'm going to tell it for him tonight. That he and I was in third grade together. And so to be standing here and receiving this from a classmate that was years ago is a great honor. And also, more importantly, two things. It was very important to me to have served with the individuals that I served with, because we collectively have worked very hard to make sure that Cumberland County is represented the best possible way that it could be. And not to forget staff, because nothing that we do or present could be done without the amazing team that we have here in Cumberland County. So, Mr. Chairman, I accept this with honor and pride from you, sir, and the remaining Board of Commissioners. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, that will take us to the presentation of the 2021 annual audit. Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. With us this evening, we have Vicki Evans, our Finance Director and General Manager, and we're joined by Jamie Crampton. He is the manager of Elliott Davis, and so we're happy to have you with us this evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. Again, this is Jamie, and he is a CPA and manager with Elliott Davis. He's going to present the audit results, and then I'm going to present the results of the general fund for fiscal year 21.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
So just wanted to open by saying thank you guys so much for allowing Elliott Davis to serve you again this year. We appreciate the relationship, and just want to say that Vicki and her team do an amazing job throughout the audit process. You have been provided the required communications between auditor and Board of Commissioners. We went through that in detail, and as you know, there are no reportable items from that. So tonight, just kind of want to spend some time on the audit reports, as well as a couple of findings from the audit. So moving into the audit reports, you'll see in your financial statement document, there are 4 reports in that financial statement document. The first being the auditor's report on the financial statements. This is your primary audit report and is placed at the front of the financial statements. Our responsibility in this report is to issue an opinion as to whether the financial statements are materially in conformity with GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, obtain a reasonable amount of assurance regarding material misstatement and whether they exist, as well as to assess internal controls but not issue an opinion on those controls. The result of this year's audit was an unmodified opinion, which is a good, clean opinion, and what you're looking for with any audit that you undertake. Because the county receives a certain amount of federal funding, they also have to undergo you also have to undergo a single audit. And this is a audit over internal controls and compliance with laws and regulations. During this audit, we do consider the internal controls over financial reporting, but we do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of those controls. We would be required to report to you if there were internal control weaknesses found, which over financial reporting there were not. So down here at the bottom you can see results, internal controls, no deficiencies identified, and no non-compliance was identified on the financial statement side. The last two reports are the reports on compliance with major programs. Those are both state and federal programs, so there's a report for each one. And with this report, we issue an opinion on the compliance with all major federal and state program requirements. We conduct this audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, governmental auditing standards, as well as the uniform guidance from federal OMB. The county complied in all material respects with major program requirements and received an unmodified opinion with deficiencies identified. Those deficiencies are listed here. There were three, pretty much all similar, over three different programs, and basically they were control documentation issues. But upon notifying the programs of these findings, we were able to receive confirmation that there was no compliance issue here, so they were merely internal control findings. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions, or I can pass it along to Vicki to present the financial figures.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie and Commissioners. For the viewing public, the financial report for fiscal year 21 is actually posted to our website, so it is available there for everyone to look at if they would like to. So now I'll go on to the general fund financial results. So the general fund is composed of the general operating fund, the capital investment fund, and the school capital fund. So for those, and that is for governmental accounting standards board purposes. So this is a slide that represents that the general fund in total. There, at the end of fiscal year 21, there was a fund balance of $234.9 million. The fund balance increased by $62.77 million during the year. And a couple slides later, I'll go into a bit more detail on why there was a fund balance increase in that amount. Of total fund balance, $110.3 million was unassigned, and the unassigned amount represents 34.62% of fiscal year 2021 expenditures, which exceeds the 10% minimum requirement by policy. This slide shows a summary of the general fund, the general operating fund, and that fund balance increased by $35 million during the fiscal year, ending with a total fund balance of $162 million. That change included revenues that came in above budget, including ad valorem taxes made up of real and personal property. Those were $7.2 million above budget. Sales tax was $13 million above budget, and we had reported during the fiscal year the good results, the positive results of the sales tax being above what we were expecting because of the uncertainties related related to COVID, and ABC revenues came in $1.9 million above budget. So opposite of that, on the expenditure side, expenditures came in 89% below budget. And as reported for the past several fiscal years, the county continues to face staff retention and recruitment issues, and that resulted in actual personnel expenditures being $15 million below budget. The school capital fund balance increased by about $2.3 million, resulting in total fund balance of $11.3 million. And what led to that was an increase in sales tax, which was also above budget.
And let me stop you here, because I
Sure.
don't want people to get confused, because the school system has a fund balance. This is capital, this is buildings, this is facilities.
Right, so the county is required to make the capital purchases for the schools, and so we have this fund on our books where we fund it through sales tax and lottery dollars.
And it's assigned, so it's not that we can spend it, it's on
Correct.
capital projects.
It has to
or-
be utilized for capitalized
Thank
items
you.
of the school system. And last, within the general fund, we have the capital investment fund, which increased by $25 million in fund balance, resulting in an ending fund balance of $61.3 million. So if you'll recall, during fiscal year 21, a financing was completed to fund the Emergency Operations Center capital project, as well as the FTCC Fire Training Center. So within the $25 million fund balance increase sits $10 million, which is obligated to FTCC for their Fire Training Center project. We also reimbursed the capital investment fund during the year. We reimbursed that fund $6 million because of funds that were previously paid for the EOC capital project. So that concludes the broad overview of the general fund financial results for fiscal year 21. And I would like to take the opportunity to recognize the finance staff who worked diligently on this audit. So that's Bob Tucker, Yvonne Mendez, Todd Hathaway, Kelly Autry, Jessica Hollander, and Liz Cherry. Put a tremendous amount of work into completing the audit, along with Elliot Davis and Jamie and his team. And so we're glad that it's completed and that we're presenting it today. And so the action that we are requesting is for the board to accept the annual comprehensive audit report for fiscal year 2021.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Excellent job as usual. Continue with those clean audits. So I would accept the motion to accept the audited annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
Are you making it?
That's my motion.
If I can get a second.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All righty. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And that would take us to the county manager, which takes us to the consent agenda.
Yes, sir.
Anything,
No items to be pulled.
any items to be pulled by any of the commissioners? If not, I would accept a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Approve the consent agenda. It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
And that takes us to the you find this, to the public hearings. So I will call on the county manager to explain the Board of Commissioners procedures for public hearings.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the zoning time limit policy, arguments by the proponents and opponents shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes for each side. If arguments are presented by a group representative, the presentation shall be limited to a maximum period of 5 minutes. If there is no group representative, each speaker shall be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes until the 10-minute time limit is obtained. Rebuttals will only be permitted at the discretion of the chairman with a maximum of 1 3-minute presentation by each side.
Thank you. That takes us to zoning case 21-0018.
Hello, Commissioners.
Mr. Justin, how you doing tonight?
Good, good. Thank you for asking. I just wanted to point out before I get started, Commissioners, that we do have Mr. Stan Crumpler, who's our Planning Board Chairman, who is with us this evening. Stan, you want to raise your hand? So the first case that we have is case 0018. This is a request from rezoning of A1 to R40, which are both types of residential districts. You can see by the location map here where the property is located in the Cedar Creek area, more in the southeastern part of the county. So the applicant is Mr. Terry and Amy Nance. The agent is Map Surveying. Again, the request is to go to A1 to R40A. The intent is simply just to add a second manufactured home to their site. You can see the site that's highlighted here in red. You can see it's a flag lot that's coming off of John Hall Road near the Stedman Cedar Creek Road intersection, but you can see it basically right here, pretty small, about 2 acres. So the majority of the land uses around here, it's pretty much a lot of mobile homes and farming, and a lot of, basically a residential area with some ag pretty much in the immediate area. So again, the case is to allow it to go to R40A, which would allow the applicant to go to put a second home on here. This is an uncontested case, so this did go to the planning board. The planning board had recommended unanimously to approve it by a 6-0 vote. It is compliant with all plans, and staff is recommending as well. If you want us to go further into the presentation, I'll be more than happy to do so at your request.
I think we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
We have one speaker in favor, Mr. Trevor Nance.
Mr. Nance, please come forward.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Yes, sir.
All right, it's your time to.
Okay, yes, I'm
You signed up to
representing my
speak.
parents. They're really helping my wife and I. So the plan is, we have a current dwelling that we have there, and it's ours, and the hopes is to build. So we just wanted to get the residential usage. We were considering maybe a second home with family, but the goal would be to keep what's there and to have that residential usage for hopes to build a home.
All right. That it?
That's it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Pretty
sir.
clear and to the point. Any other speakers, Madam?
There are no further speakers.
Then I will close the public hearing, and if commissioners have any questions or comments, if not, I will entertain a motion.
In case 210018, I move to approve the rezoning request from A1 Agricultural District to the R40A Residential District, and find that the request is consistent with the Southeast Cumberland Land Use Plan, which calls for rural density residential at this location. Approval of the request is reasonable and in the public's interest because the R40A residential district would allow residential use at a density that would be compatible and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. That will take us to zoning case 210019.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As you can see by the location map that's before you here, this case is located between Fayetteville and the Hope Mills area, as you can see in the western part of the county. This is, more specifically, it's located off Camden Road. You can see the property that's highlighted here in CP. I know there's a lot of lines and a lot of stuff. I'll show you a cleaner image here in just a minute, but you can see the property in question includes this parcel that sits in the back, which is a triangular piece, and this property that's right here. For the most part, you can see a lot of the zoning that's around here is industrial mixed in with a lot of residential. So again, as you can see what's out there right now, you do have some commercial uses, you have a storage use, some recycling, some a plumbing business and so forth, but you can see generally it's a fairly busy type of area of the county that is growing, no doubt about that. So this should be a little bit cleaner. The only reason why the applicant is asking for this request, as my understanding, is just to rezone the back little corner piece, that blue piece, the same zoning that the rest of the tract is currently zoned. So you can see currently the tract is CP already. So, but this request will bring the entire parcel into compliance with one zoning category. When staff looked at this, this is not compliant with the plan as far as the map, but staff thought it did warrant a plan change, just so much in the fact that you have a lot of this industrial that is sitting here. Staff thought it was a sensible transition between our heavier types of industrial uses to put maybe some commercial uses to kind of step down the intensity. I don't know what happened there. To step down the intensity towards a single-family area right here. So staff recommended it, and also by the fact that it is already CP for 80% of the site. So again, we took this to the planning board. The planning board had supported staff's recommendation for approval by a 6-0 vote. I know the applicant is here if you have questions for him as well, but I'll try to entertain any I can before I go further in the presentation if you want me to go further.
Does anybody have any questions? If not, I will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers, Madam Clerk?
We have 2 speakers in favor. Our first speaker is Mr. Ben Borger.
Good evening.
Evening, Commissioners. I'm the owner, Ben Borger. Yeah, so we're trying to rezone that little back parcel to commercial. I retire next year from the Army, and so this is going to be my business that I'm setting up. So that's all I have for this evening. Thank you for your time. Merry Christmas to you all.
Are there any other speakers?
Our second speaker is Mr. Kenneth Smith.
Mr. Smith?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here helping Mr. Borger with his site plan and the rezoning. At this point, as it was explained, we're just looking to clean up the current zoning to 100% commercial. As stated, about 80% of the lot is zoned as commercial, and the back portion is R10, which in speaking with planning staff is now a zoning that I do believe is more or less invalid these days. The thought process was just to try to clean this up and make it conducive, so therefore intended future development would never be in conflict with the zoning in the rear. So any questions from you all?
Any questions or comments? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other speakers, Madam Clerk?
There are no further speakers.
Then I will close the public hearing and I will entertain a motion.
This is 19.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
In case ZON 21-0019, I move to approve the rezoning request from R10 residential and CP planned commercial district to CP planned commercial district, and find the request is not consistent with the
That's correct.
Southwest Cumberland land use plan, which calls for light industrial at this location. However, the request is an approval of an amendment to the adopted current Southwest Cumberland land use plan, and that the Board of Commissioners should not require any additional request or application for amendment to said map for this request. The requested CP district is an appropriate transition between industrial and residential zoning districts, would be less intensive, and would further eliminate potential compatibility concerns associated with light industrial and residential uses. Is reasonable and in the public interest because the CP district would allow commercial uses at an intensity that would be compatible and in harmony with the surrounding land use and zoning.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. That will take us to case 2120.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You can see where this case is located. This is up off of Ramsey Street on Slocum Road, but you can see the star up here where it is located in North Cumberland County. So the applicant owner is William Lee Elliott and Desi Elliott. The request is to go from P&D, which is currently a dormant district, to RR residential. The intent is to add another residence on this particular lot, similar to what you heard previously this evening. So again, here's Slocum Road. You can see here is Ramsey Street. Here's breaking off onto Slocum Road, but you can see the property right now is a combination of a couple different lots, so the intent is the applicant's going to do a recombination of the plat, then subdivide it out or try to put a second home out here on the property. But you can see where this is at the corner of Long Hill Drive and Slocum Road for about 1.81 acres. The majority of the stuff that you see out here as far as land use is primarily vacant land with single family homes of different types. There's a church out there, and then there's a motorcycle club that just sits just up the road from from the applicants or this site. So this coloration of the zoning should help you a little bit better. So as I said before, the majority of the area out here is a residential type of district. P&D, as I said, is dormant, so it's no longer there, but you can develop to an R7.5, which is the equivalent of what our current zoning ordinance has today. But for this particular case, they're asking to go to RR, which is 20,000 square foot minimum lot sizes. So we did take this to the planning board. They supported the request by a 6-0 vote. Staff is recommending it. If I am not mistaken, this does take a plan approval, so it was not consistent with the map, but we're essentially going from one residential category to another residential category on the future land use map, so it's not a huge derivation. And that's all I have. If you have any questions for me, I'll go further in the presentation if you wish for me to.
Anyone have any questions? I will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers, Madam Clerk?
There are no speakers.
Then I will close the public hearing, and if there are a motion,
In zoning case 210020, I move to approve the rezoning request from P&D Planned Neighborhood Development District to the RR Rural Residential District and find the request is not consistent with the North Carolina and Cumberland Land Use Plan, which calls for low-density residential at this location. However, this request is an approval of the amendment to adopt current North Carolina Cumberland Land Use Plan at the Board of Commissioners should not require any additional request or application for amendment to said map for this request. Would allow minimum lot size that are above what the land use plan calls for and is reasonable and in the public interest because the RR, Rural Residential District, would allow residential use at a density that would be compatible and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Madam Manager, that takes us to our contested rezoning cases.
Yes, sir. The first case is case zoning 21-007.
17.
17.
Yes, so as you can see where this case is located, near like Maxwell Road with the red star out here in the far eastern part of Cumberland County. The applicant owner is Mr. William McPhail. The request, as I said, is to go from RR and C1P, Planned Local District, to just straight C1P for the whole site. So you can see by the property in question, here's Maxwell Road that's running along the frontage of the site. The site in question is right here in this red crosshatch. It's got a split zoning on the property, so there's a small component of it. I'd say probably maybe 40% of it is probably, it definitely is already C1P now. But the remainder of the site is RR, which you can see here. Primarily all around this was agricultural land and single-family homes. It's primarily a residential area out there. So the zoning is, I think the coloration shows it a little bit better. So you can see that the majority of the entire area out here is overwhelmingly single-family and agriculture. So this was sort of a small zoning that was sitting right in the middle of all of that. So when we looked at the soils, there's no utilities out in this area, so it's but the soils are good. When we looked at the land use plan, the Stedman land use plan called for this entire area to be pretty much residential. So that's why staff kind of went the way they did with their recommendation. So we felt the request was not consistent with the adopted land use map. When we try to zoom out a little bit further about where we were seeing CP-type designations in this area, just wanted to throw this in as sort of a side slide, but you can see the subject property here. You can see by the coloration on the map, you see the primary commercial areas would be up in this area on Wade Stedman Road, and then you see it more down here on Highway 24. And so this whole stretch right here doesn't have currently any kind of commercial development on it. So staff had a little bit of concern about setting precedent for commercial development out there. But it went to the planning board, and so we had a dialogue about it, and so I'll get into that in just a second. But from the picture, you can see that the subject property is here. It's currently been graded, so there's nothing on the site currently. This is looking on the south view of Maxwell Road with the property immediately on the left-hand side. You can see on the right-hand side you have a lot of manufactured housing and residential development. This is standing on the site looking right across the street, so you have a single-family home that is sitting there currently. This is the north view on Maxwell Road with the site immediately on the right-hand side. You can, of course, see the sign that we post out there, which is required by state statute for public notification. So when staff looked at this, staff had recommended denial of the request when we took it to the planning board. The planning board heard the conversation and wanted to go in a different direction, so they had recommended the case by a 6-0 vote. I'll try to answer any questions I have to the degree I can.
Anybody have any questions? Well, I just have the one. How does it get to be that little piece and then the rest of it didn't get done? I mean, it may predate you, so it just doesn't make sense.
I think it's been there for quite a long time. There used to be a mini, I mean, like it's my understanding, I think there used to be a mini storage on that site there at one point that used to get, that got torn down. It's my understanding the applicant took it down, applied for the rezoning, and then wants to make it, I guess, bigger or more modern. That's what I am understanding. So.
Gotcha. All right. I will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers, Madam Clerk?
We have two speakers this evening who are in favor. Our first speaker is William McPhail.
Mr. McPhail.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. How you doing this evening?
Yes, sir, I'm doing fine. We were just thinking that this was, well, I bought the property and it was part commercial and part residential. I had no idea it was going to be a undertaking like this. But I was just, you know, had an idea of putting these mini storage units on there. There was a florist on there that had been there for several years. It was an old cinder block building and a couple of tobacco barns and stuff on the back of it. We tore all that down and it's a blank property now. So, and we don't need any utilities for these storage units. It's just going to be blank. So I carried it to zoning, and they approved my site plan contingent on you all approving this. So, and then I also went to the DOT, and he approved, I got that today, he approved my driveway and all that. So anyway, I took the steps I could take in hopes that y'all would approve this for me. I have Mr. Buck over here, he lives in the house directly across from that, and Miss Sheila, she's the one that sold me the property. She lives right down the road. She got here a little bit late, so she wasn't able to sign her name. So I have the neighbors, and hopefully we can, that's really all I have.
Thank you.
Please, thank you.
All right.
Mr. McPhail, would you state your name and address for the record? We have
Yeah.
William Andrew McPhail, 366 Carroll Store Road, Altreville, North Carolina.
Any other
Our
speakers?
second speaker in favor is Mr. Wayne Bullock.
Hello.
How you doing this
I'm
evening?
glad we opened with a word of prayer.
Always.
Thank you. Yeah, I had the house. Y'all showed a picture of it, where you got your little blue lines right straight across. We built that house 10 years ago. Thank God I don't owe but 3 more years on it. Anyway, I'm all for it because when they put up them kind of buildings and stuff, they look neat, clean looking and all. And I've had a lot of my neighbors call me. Everybody calls me. I'm sorry I'm giving out of breath because
Take your time. Take your
a
time.
year ago I had COVID. And UNC said I'm lucky to be here.
All right.
No, a miracle.
That's a blessing.
But anyway, so bear with me. I'm not scared talking to y'all because I get in front of church. I do a lot of stuff. But anyway, my neighbors, a lot of them call me, what do you think about this? I said, I think it's the best thing could possibly happen because they put another trailer there, and if it's not supervised right, Bullock Court down there is a mess, but you look at Buck Ridge, I've got a clean place, and they know it. Anyway, I'm all for it. And if you want to ask me any question, I know a little bit about that little strip y'all talking about. Originally, when it was broke down, y'all might not want to hear it. But anyway, you know how families are. They one just would not give. So she got that little slice in there, and her daughter tried to buy it from her to just so it could put it all in there for Mr. McPhail and just won't do it. So having to go this way, and I hope y'all in favor of doing this, Mr. McPhail, okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you so very much. And can you say your name and address for the record?
Okay, my name is Wayne L. Bullock. And if you see anything down there with Buck, or Buck Ridge, or any of that, that's me too. Nickname. Address 5259 Maxwell Road, Stedman, North Carolina. And this is Stedman zip code. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
I'm giving out breath.
Okay. You're good, you're good. That's good, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank y'all.
And I know you were late, but I just say you're not against it. That just
Oh, I'm not against it,
Okay.
I'm all for it. He's done a
Right.
fantastic job.
Right.
If he could clean up the whole neighborhood, that would be awesome.
All right. Thank you.
That was my grandfather's property.
All right. Are there any other speakers, ma'am?
There are no further speakers.
Then we will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
It is me.
Wouldn't approve that.
In the case of ZON 210017, I move to approve the rezoning request from RR Rural Residential District and C1P Planned Local Business District to C1P Planned Local Business District, and find that the request is not consistent with the Stedman land use plan, which calls for suburban density residential at this location. However, the request requires an amendment to the adopted current Stedman land use plan, and that the Board of Commissioners should not require any additional request or application for amendment to said map. Would not materially increase the intensity of uses to what has been existing on the site, and is reasonable and in the public interest because the requested C1P planned local business district will allow commercial uses at an intensity that would be compatible in character and in harmony with the existing C1P zoning.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Thank you, Mr. Crumpler, for being here from the Planning Board as the chairman of the Planning Board. Thank you so very much. It's always good to see you. Madam Manager, that will take us to the items of business, which is the consideration of the proposed diversity.
Yes, sir. This is an item that was heard at the December 9th, 2021 agenda session, and so the item was moved forward, but it was not a unanimous vote, so that's why it's being presented this evening as an item of business. So I'll ask Vicki Evans, our Finance Director and General Manager, to present this item.
Good evening again, Commissioners.
Good evening.
As Ms. Cannon stated, this presentation was made at the December 9th agenda session meeting, and during the meeting, there was a change requested that is reflected in the document that was provided within the agenda, tonight's agenda, and so that change was in Initiative 3.7. There was a reword to exclude the word minority to allow for all employees to be included, not just minority employees. And there was also a change requested by Commissioner Keefe that was not moved forward. That was to add an initiative to the strategic plan to address diversity in the makeup of appointed boards. And the board at that time decided that that could be addressed by looking at it separately from this strategic plan. So we are requesting approval of the strategic plan to be effective for 3 years for the time frame beginning January 1st of 2022 through December 31st of 2025.
Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, I would take a motion to approve the strategic plan, including the creation of a Chief Diversity Officer position
Yes.
in January 2022 to lead the county's DE&I efforts.
So moved.
It's been moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Madam Manager,
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this item is consideration of amended professional services agreement for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program with Innovative Emergency Management, Inc., or IEM. This item was also discussed and presented at the December 9th, 2021 agenda session. The board did not approve unanimously as it was presented, and so it's That's why tonight it's an item of business. I'll ask Ms. Dee Taylor, our Community Development Director, to present this item.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, and good evening. As you're aware, the county currently has an agreement with Innovative Emergency Management to administer the Emergency Rental Assistance Program with funds made available through the Treasury Department of approximately $3.7 million. So back in May, the Treasury Department issued a portion of the second allocation to the county, and Community Development is currently amending the current agreement to extend the term from December 31st of 2021 to June 30th of 2022, and requesting that the board approve the program fee that IM agreed to administer the program for, which is 25% of the program funds, 15% of which it will consist of admin costs, and 10% housing stability, which is providing supportive services, including case management. And so tonight we are requesting that the board accept the funding allocation of $1,182,304.80 and approve the contract amendment with IEM to extend the term to June 30th of 2022 and approve the program fee for the second allocation in an amount not to exceed 25% of the program funds, of which 15% is for admin costs and 10% for housing stability costs. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
Anyone have any questions or comments? If not, I would accept the motion to accept the additional allocation of emergency rental assistance program funds in the amount of $1,182,304.80 and approve the contract amendment which extends the contract period to June 30th, 2022, and the program fee for the second allocation in an amount not to exceed 25% of the program funds, 15% for the administrative costs, and 10% for the housing stability costs.
Second the motion.
Oh, you moved that?
I moved it. Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. All right, that takes us to nominations, and I will call on our very capable Commissioner Stewart.
The Fayetteville Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. The nomination is Diamond Spain. For our Human Relation Commission, there are 2 vacancies. The Human Relation Commission recommends Jessica Black and Elmore Lowry. Our Joint Planning Board has 1 vacancy, which is 1 vacancy, but 2 recommendations, Billy King and William Walters.
I would nominate William Walters.
The Cumberland County Local Emergency Plan Committee has 1 vacancy, and they recommend Amy Mateo. The Board of Health has 9 vacancies. For the veterinarian category, Dr. William Kent Dean. Our dentist category, Dr. Kinsley Momodu. The registered nurse category, Cynthia MacArthur Kearney. The pharmacist category, Dr. Ojo. The engineer category, John Larch III. The general public representative category, Jennifer Brayboy, Kiara Wade, and Joseph Pfizer. And for the Cumberland County Commissioner category, I just need a consensus to reappoint Commissioner Council for a 3rd term.
And I guess, do we need a motion to, which would change our waiver of, the waiver of Rule 29. So I need a motion to waive that for her to be able to do a 3rd term.
I make a motion that Dr. Council be appointed to a 3rd term.
And the waiver of Rule 29, I second that. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
And I will call on the Vice Chairwoman Stewart for the appointments.
Our Farm Advisory Board, I make a motion to appoint the following nominees. In the Farmers category, Tracy Gardner, Craig Tyson, David Gillis. For the North Carolina Cooperative Extension category, Liz Joseph, In the Cumberland County Joint Planning Board category, Mark Williams.
That takes us to the Animal Services Board.
I make a motion for the following nominees. Promoting goals of Animal Protection Society or the Humane Society or another such broadly based and representative organization interested in the care and protection of the animals category, Lee Ward.
And if I can get a second on those appointments?
Second.
It's been moved in second for those appointments to the Farm Advisory Board and Animal Services Board. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. All right, that will, Madam Manager, is there a closed session item?
Yes, sir. We're asking for a closed session for an economic development matter pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143, 318, 11A4.
If I can get a motion to go into closed session pursuant to the statute?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Unanimous.
We will go into closed session.
Sure. I'm feeling generous tonight.
Welcome back, and we'll take a motion to go out of closed session. Motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Second?
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
We are now in open session. Give it a minute. All right, there being no other business, Madam Manager,
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
We are adjourned. Thank you all so much for being here.